What is up, guys? Coach Devin coming at you with a deeper look into why it is that we do exactly what we do at a normal training day at BSP. So, first things first, everyone has a warm-up that they perform when they walk through the front door. We have a series of movements that prepares the body by increasing the body temperature and preparing that soft tissue in the body to contract at a high speed so that the athlete can perform at a high level with a minimal risk of injury. And every athlete has a series of movements that they specifically may need to perform to make sure that they are also capable of performing at that high level with very little risk of injuries. Next, once an athlete has performed their warm-up, they're going to transition into plyometrics. We split our plyometrics into 3 separate movements that an athlete will perform. The first is ankle dominant movement. These are things like jump rope, pogo hops. We use these movements to make sure that the ankle and foot are strong and not the limiting factor in force production on other things like sprinting and jumping. These also help the athlete be prepared for lower intensity, longer duration bouts of activity that may occur during competition or practice. Once the athlete completes their ankle dominant, they then perform a lower limb movement. These are where our knees and hips are used to rapidly extend the lower body on things like box jumps and broad jumps. We use these to help refine those movement patterns with athletes, jumping horizontally, vertically, or laterally, so that as they get better at those movements, their body allows them produce more force within those specific movements. We then finish with a med ball movement that helps athletes learn how to transfer energy efficiently all the way through our bodies. And the med ball is great at doing this because we have to push force through the ground and finish with it all the way at our fingertips. So that force has to efficiently travel through the ground out the end of the athlete's hands. Once the athlete has finished their 3 plyometric movements, they transition either into speed or agility depending on what the athlete has scheduled for the day. So when an athlete is working speed with us, we first make sure that they are able to efficiently accelerate. So we make sure that their mechanics allow them to accelerate in an efficient manner. And once they learn how to create that acceleration without a lot of wasted energy, we then teach them how to accelerate out of different positions to prepare them for positions that they may come into contact with during their competition. Once the athlete is efficient at that, we then try to increase their force production. Once an athlete is efficient and forceful with their acceleration, we then can work on top speed because an athlete is good at getting there. We work on top speed by enhancing their top speed mechanics and positioning so that once they reach that top speed, they're able to efficiently stay there as long as possible without wasting a bunch of energy or getting themselves into a poor position. On our agility days, our main focuses are giving the athletes the tools to efficiently change directions by first getting them comfortable with changing their hip level. So you need to raise your hips to accelerate and lower your hips to change direction. So we get the athlete very good at understanding their center of gravity and lowering that to efficiently change directions. We then give them the tools to actually change those directions. So whether that's turning, stepping laterally, or flipping the hips and running the opposite direction, we make sure that the athletes are efficient at changing that direction or moving towards a different direction so that they are not wasting a lot of time with their transitions and that they are able to then react very quickly. So we try to make these efficient changes of direction second of nature. Then we incorporate reactions so that the athlete gets very comfortable making fast decisions and reacting upon those efficiently rather than losing that efficient movement pattern just because they have to think about what's going on around them. Once the athlete is done with their speed and agility for the day, they then transition into our resistance training, which we break into our explosive movement with some core, lower strength, and upper strength. Now we use explosive movements like kettlebell swings and clean variations to help that athlete produce a lot of force very quickly. So using a kettlebell swing, they have to use a lot of force to shoot the kettlebell up very quickly. And this teaches the body how to produce larger amounts of force in shorter amounts of time, which is very necessary when you're talking about things like acceleration and deceleration. We then pair that with core, some sort of core exercise to, again, increase the durability of that core so that it's capable of transferring energy very efficiently. We then transition into lower body strength, where we are increasing that amount of force that the athlete is capable of producing. So the explosive helps us produce that force quicker, but we need to create or have the ability to create more force. So we do that with lower body strength movements, and then we finish with upper body strength, which again has the same effect. We are trying to produce more force so that our body can take that force and use it more quickly through explosive movements.